This is Fowl Players Radio, your podcast for arts, entertainment, and pop culture. Welcome. My name is Michael Spedden, your host. Every episode features fun, fascinating stories about people in the performing arts, actors, authors, dancers, writers, musicians, athletes, you name it. Folks who are center stage, backstage, on camera, or behind the scenes. Sit back and listen. Let's have some fun. Fowl Players Radio is a proud production of the Fowl Players Group and the official podcast of the Fowl Players of Perryville.
Hello, my name is Gunhild Carling, and you are listening to Fowl Players Radio, and I am interviewed here, so tune in.
Hello, this is John Piet,
Kevin Schmidt,
and Jerry Bozick.
And we're August, a little band from Virginia. You can hear our story, other stories from the legendary Baltimore, D.C. music scene, and much, much more with Michael Spedden on Fowl Players Radio. You can find it at www.fowlplayersradio.com, on YouTube, and wherever you find podcasts online. Keep rocking.
Hi, this is Kim of Kim's Crypt, and you're listening to Fowl Players Radio.
Folks, welcome back. Michael Spedden here. And tonight, we welcome back to Fowl Players Radio, Red Die number 9. Red Die number 9 consists of just Bill, Joe Poodle, and Mr. Green, who joined us tonight, and also young Nick on bass. They came on to talk about their brand new album called American Dream, and here it is. It's a brand new CD, 8 songs on it. Features just Bill on guitar, Joe Poodle on guitar and vocals, Mr. Green on drum and vocals, young Nick on bass and vocals. And a blast from the past, former bassist Stumpy Joe returned to play guitar and to do some vocals, and they also reunited with producer extraordinaire Dave Nachotsky. They worked with him back in their old Invisible Sound days. The album has 8 great songs on it, and it's available on their website at www.reddie9.com. Also available on their website is their CD of all their classic hits. We remember, if you're an 80s kid that used to follow Red Die number 9 around back in those days, it's called Red Die number 9 Complete History Volume 9. The album they just put out last year called Ninth Time's the Charm. And this is also available on their website, www.reddie9.com. This shirt and other t-shirts and other merchandise, stickers, and everything else you'll find on their website. Remember, folks, Christmas is just around the corner. Very, very important that we shop small, shop local, support your local artists. Hey, they're out there working very hard, and these things all make excellent Christmas gifts. They're a lot of fun. They support local people. They support local artists. So get out there and do it. Remember to shop small, shop local this Christmas. The Fowl Players of Perryville, and speaking of shopping small, we're going to be performing at Fifth Company Brewing in Perryville, 325 Front Street. They have lots of great microbrews. A lot of their, all their own beers are there. And they also have a heck of a nice food counter there where you can get all kinds of great food. We're going to open the doors at 5:30 that night, 5:30 to 7. They will have happy hour prices, and then you can come into the show at 7 o'clock. You can bring your food and drink in with you. Tickets, only $20, folks. You come out to this show, you support a nice brand new local brewery, you support a very funny and hardworking theater group. So what do you say? Tickets are available at www.fowlplayersofperryville.com, also at fifthcompanybrewing.com, and you'll see a link in the show notes below. Also, remember, the Western Maryland Scenic Railroad, we will be doing a murder mystery there on New Year's Eve. For information on that, www.WMSR.com. And don't forget to pick up your tickets for the Polar Express. Polar Express will be running from Friday, right after Thanksgiving, all the way through Christmas Eve. So make sure you get your tickets for that. It's a wonderful time for the kiddos and the entire family. So we will be right back right after these words with Red Die number 9.
This is A.D. Adams, and you are tuned in to Fowl Players Radio with your host, Michael Spedden.
Yeah, hi, this is David Simmons from DC Star, and I am just encouraging all of you to tune in to Michael Spedden's show on Fowl Players Radio and love the rock and roll of the past and the art of the future.
Hi, this is Bud Becker, and you're listening to Fowl Players Radio.
And we're back for another episode, folks. Michael Spedden here, Fowl Players Radio, and we're bringing back some old friends of mine are returning to do another episode with us here. Red Dye number 9 is here. They just released their new CD, American Dream. It's very, very good, I must say. Very, very good. I was listening to it, and that's the reason why it takes me an hour again to go to the grocery store now, because I'm driving around the neighborhood listening to this one as I was Ninth Time's the Charm that came out last year. So welcome, guys, and congratulations on a great job.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, so I see there was a little bit of a reunion on this one, huh?
Yeah, we put the word out to Stumpy Joe, and he is living on the East Coast now. So
Okay.
he was able to come in and pitch in and participate. So we got a chance to work with him, and he laid down some nice guitar tracks and did some backing vocals, and it was a good time.
That's great. That's good to see. That's good to see, because I really enjoyed watching Red Dye number 9 with Stumpy back in the days. Those were just such fun times. We really talked about that a lot. And it was good to see him come back and do this. And of course, we had Nick, who unfortunately can't be here with us tonight, playing bass again. We have Bill, Joe Poodle, and Mr. Green, filling out the rest of the band. There was another reunion on here that I noticed as well.
Oh, with Dave
Yeah.
At the studio, yeah. After ninth time came out, he reached out to us and said he had a new spot because he had closed Invisible Sound.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, I'm recording there in Cockeysville. It's called Stages Music Arts, and he asked us. He's like, hey, if you're going to do something, look me up. And so we called him and took a tour of the place, and it's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, well, this might be too fancy for us, but when the time comes, we'll call you. And it was great. I mean, we haven't worked with him in ages, and he's still have money in the bank.
Oh yeah, he always is. I mean, he's just a phenomenal. We worked, of course, my band worked there years ago, Orange Seed, and then even after Orange Seed, Fritz had 20 Ripped Angel. They worked with Dave as well, and I tell you, he's just top of the line. That's that he's got a great musical family too. I've also had him as a guest too.
Okay.
And I really, I enjoyed talking to him. He had a lot of great stories, and told me some good stories about you guys too. There was one story I thought was really good that he had mentioned was your first cassette that came out where you got the tapes.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Would
They were psychology tapes.
Right, and you were.
Yeah, what we basically did was we took the psychology tapes, we used a magnet and erased them, and then we went and got. I went to Circuit City back then,
Mm-hmm.
and bought two player tape machines, and we could play one tape and record to the second one. And when we were done, I packed it all up and returned the players to Circuit City and got my money back.
Oh, okay. That's great. Hey, we all did what we had to do back then,
Oh yeah.
I spent quite a bit of time with our master tape too. I had the old double cassette thing, and you just got to make sure you don't put the tape that you want to the record one, or the
Exactly.
but that's really good. Looking at this here, I really like the artwork here. American Dream. You've got a couple page long lyric sheet in here that I see, and I really like the artwork on the disc itself. Who came up with that?
I think that was Nick. Nick did most of the artwork for the CD.
Mm-hmm.
He's our go-to Photoshop /IT guy.
Mm-hmm.
And he did a lot of the artwork. There was a lot of going back and forth about, he would text everybody a picture and say, what do you think of this? And one person would say, I like it. And the next person would say, it sucks. And it took a while to get it together. but eventually we all agreed, and yeah, I think it turned out really well. The inside cover, the only complaint that anybody has is Bill and I both complain that we had our face covered up by lyrics.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Because the lyric sheet started out with a photo, some band photos that we took in the studio, and Larry's a little verbose, so there's a lot of lyrics, and it just completely covered Bill and I. You can't see us at all, so we
Yeah,
don't
I
have
know.
to blame at this point. It's either Nick's fault or it's Larry's fault. I think it's both, really.
We should have paid extra for a couple extra blank pages on the inserts, just so you could have had a clear picture. Yeah, I'm not apologizing for anything. Forget it.
Or you could have taken your lyrics and done like that artful poetry. You know, when you would read that in a book when you were a kid, these words kind of work around things.
Curve around. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, I don't think there's enough space. There definitely are way too many words.
Yep. Is something attacking you there, Larry or Joe?
Oh, it's my cat. She's really ready to be part of this.
Hey, I see.
she's got some strong opinions. She probably could contribute. So we'll see if she makes an appearance or not.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, the songs, I could kind of tell between the last CD and this one, it sounded a little bit more like your older stuff, I think. I guess maybe you could attribute that to working with Dave, or maybe just how you wrote this one here. But I think it did remind me a little bit more of the older stuff. What do you think?
Wow, that's tough. I since Bill writes almost all the riffs, I'm going to let him speak on that.
I don't know. I think I think I'm influenced by a half dozen bands, and so that rhythm that I put in there with I love an open E and an open A as you're changing chords, and so there's something about just the rhythm that I play to, and so I think things tend to sound similar to the old stuff. But I think we progressed a lot since the old stuff. The old stuff was very was quick.
Yeah.
This is not to make things more complicated, but there's a greater chord progressions in these songs than in the old stuff that we did.
Right. Yeah, it was just like, it's kind of hard to describe, but I just think maybe it's just the overall sound of it. Maybe I could definitely see that there is some differences in the writing and stuff back then, but just the overall sound just kind of put to mind the older material and everything, which is absolutely great. I was riding home. We have a gig in Cumberland doing murder mysteries out there. It's a 3-hour drive back and forth. And on the way home, I was with one of my actors riding with me, and we played pretty much your entire catalog. And he absolutely loved it. He's not from this area and didn't remember you from back in those days. But I got to tell you, I think, I think this ought to do pretty well for you. Have you gotten, are you getting, any kind of hits or anything like on, I think it's Bandcamp that you're on? I mean, it's only been out a short time.
It's tough when you're an independent and you're just doing it yourself. So it's a hustle, and but we, oddly enough, we have gotten a couple West Coast based internet shows that have gotten the songs, and they're like, I'm playing it tomorrow. Somebody's playing it like in 2 hours. He's like, I'm going to put you on tonight. And I'm like, okay, which is weird because you can't get, we can't get anything from the East Coast, but apparently these punk rockers in the West Coast are like, yeah, we dig it. So, that's cool. You'd love to have a little bit more exposure, but again, when you're doing it yourself, man, you just got to scratch and claw. So that's really what we're doing, and why we appreciate you giving us this opportunity, because just to get it out there.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, the thing that I found with the show is that people, I've had a lot of band, from our era and even before, and people just really enjoy the trip down memory lane, if nothing else. A lot of the people, aren't, aren't actively playing out anymore or anything like that, but they really do enjoy, remembering the stories about the clubs and everything. And we spent a lot of time talking about those days too.
Sure.
That's not something I guess you are. Do you have any live performances planned or anything? Are you still thinking about that, or are you? Is that a thought?
Oh, it's on the list. It's
Okay.
on. We talk about it all the time. We're right now. We're spending all our time rehearsing a live set,
Oh,
and
good.
once we got it to where we want it,
Mhm.
we're getting out.
Good.
So
Good.
just gonna play. Like it's gonna be like the old days. Just gonna play wherever we can. Well,
Oh,
yeah,
great.
we spent so much time writing this record
Mhm.
that we really need to now rehearse it live.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because we did so much in the studio, playing it live is kind of different. But that's the goal. We're working on it right now. So hopefully early next year, January, February, maybe
That's
keep an eye
great.
out.
That's great. Ain't nothing wrong with that at all. It would be fun to get out there, I guess. Again, that's something that I kind of miss is playing music live and everything. I would say, I would say some people would. I would say some people from the old days would come back, and hopefully you'll get a new audience with this stuff too. I mean, it's definitely quality material.
Thanks.
Thank you.
I think we're excited and
Mhm.
also anxious and scared. And
Yeah, yeah.
it's been a while for all of us before,
Hmm.
between playing out. So I think we're gonna start kind of slowly and not
Hmm.
necessarily rely on the old fans to show
Sure.
up.
Right. Right.
Just kind of get out there and play in front of some strangers
Hmm.
and hopefully, I mean, I think we all agreed when we came out of the studio that we feel like we have something good here,
Hmm.
and we're looking forward to sharing it with people. So hopefully we can get some new fans,
Hmm.
and then, maybe once we've worked out the kinks with a few shows, then we can come back to Baltimore and say, this is we're doing this for the old fans. Let's get something big going. But for now, we're just gonna get on any, whoever will take us as an opener, we'll go do it. Even if we
Sure.
get a 20-minute set, we'll go do it.
Sure. Well, that's what you do. Have you? Is there anybody? Are you? I don't know if you're at liberty to say or not, but is there anybody that you've actually spoken to and you're kind of working on this with? Maybe whether it be a venue or another band.
Uh,
Um,
Not right now. I think the
Mhm.
closest thing we have is Nick used to play in a band called Assemble in Philadelphia,
Mhm.
and the band that he used to be in still plays out regularly, and so they've asked us several times to come out and play with them. Um, I think that might be a good place for us to start again, because we could just
Mhm.
go to another state, another city,
Oh yeah.
not have the expectations of Baltimore Red Dye
Yeah. Right.
number
Right.
9,
Right.
and just
Mhm.
go out and kind of play for some strangers and iron out the kinks and
Mhm.
make our mistakes in front of strangers instead of people that know us.
Oh, sure, sure, sure. Oh, well, and that's a good place to start. I mean, the thing is that's good about being on the East Coast is that things are closer. I mean, within
Right.
100 and some mile stretch, you've got DC, Baltimore, and Philly. Not much farther up than that, you've got you've got New York, not that far away, and then even to the south, if you wanted to go down and play, Richmond or something like that,
Right.
you've got all of this in a very close proximity, and I mean, it's there to be done, I think.
I think the good thing, I don't know, maybe not the good thing, but the difference between being in a band at this age and being in a band, when we
Hmm.
were all in bands together, back then, everybody you knew, at least for us, was in a band. So we
Right.
were
Yeah.
constantly being like, "Hey, you got a gig? Put us on the bill. Hey, you
Hmm.
guys want to do a show?" at this age, we don't know that many people still gigging in bands,
Yeah,
but we
yeah,
do
yeah.
know a lot of people who either book bands
Mm-hmm.
or know people who own clubs or
Mm-hmm.
have a venue. So we've like gone from being amongst the talent to amongst the management. And
Right,
we can
right.
reach out to them and make a couple
Mhm.
calls and be like, hey, you're booking shows, hook us up. I mean, they're not necessarily in the neighborhood, but again, like Brian said, we want to kind of get out a little further out of, Red
Mhm.
Dye's shadow and play the new stuff and, turn some people on to it.
Mhm. Exactly, exactly. And I think it would be interesting too, because it's just, uh, I guess there's a lot of things that stay the same, but then a lot of things change too. And I can remember what it was like for myself. I was out of music for 12 years and I started playing again. And it was like there were some things that were the same, but there was a lot of things that were just like night and day. And it ought to be interesting for you, I think. But I think, the quality of material that you have, I mean, you shouldn't have any problems getting receptive audiences. I know I'll be there when I can, but it's that's the other part too of having friends that are performers. It's like
Yeah.
you have so many conflicts with things.
Yeah, it's true. But
Mhm.
we think that, it's the stuff we've got now is new and it is
Mhm.
different. I mean,
It
it does
is,
have
yeah.
a similar vibe
Yeah.
because we are who we are. But I think that what we've been writing
Mhm.
has definitely changed, like
Yeah. Yeah.
topically.
Oh
It's
yeah.
a
Yeah.
little more out there.
Mhm.
It's a little more political. But I think it's timely.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
There's always time for a good anti-capitalism screed.
Mhm.
And we try to like take on some stuff that we didn't when we were younger because we just didn't have the confidence.
Right.
But I feel
Right.
like now, and we've been through more stuff. So, it's not all
Mhm.
breakups and makeups and stuff like that when you're a kid. It's like, the wife's taking half my stuff and, the government's cracking down on me. And,
Mhm.
I mean, it's definitely comes from a different place, but like I said, I think it's pretty punk rock and pretty timely. So I think, and it's heavy, we
It
got
is.
two, well,
It is.
technically on the record, we got three guitars.
Mhm.
Um, there's just tons and tons of guitar on this record.
Oh yeah.
And so we were real happy to get this recorded the way we wanted it, and we just wanted a big, heavy, thunderous record. And invariably, whenever we show up and plug in at a studio to record a demo or something, the guy halfway through, the guy's like, "Man, you guys are really loud." We're like, "Whoa!" I mean, this is how we practice. This is what it
Mhm.
sounds like in the basement. But I guess we're loud, and I think
Mhm.
we might be a little slower, but a little heavier.
Mhm.
But it's a blast. It's a
Yeah.
blast.
Yeah, I agree with you too. And what you were saying about the songwriting and everything, and having lived a lot longer now, the perspective that you're able to put into your songs and everything, having just a better understanding of life, a better understanding of how issues affect people and everything, and how it affects you individually. It looks like there's a lot of different things that you're talking about on here, and you make no mistake about where you're coming from and everything, and some things that have happened to you, some things that you've lived through, and just ideas on life itself.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, it's been a long life, and there's been a lot going on, and so
Hmm.
there's just that much more you can tap into. And I know for me, lyric wise, I've learned to write from a perspective that other than mine.
Hmm.
So I know when I sent these lyrics, I sent them to Stumpy to read because I wanted
Yeah.
some input because he helped
Hmm.
me with some of the arrangements. And he called me back. He's like, "Hey, are you all right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine. Why?" He goes, "I was going to call welfare check in on you because some of these lyrics are a little heavy." And I was like,
Yeah.
"Dude, they're not all about me. Don't worry
Right.
about it."
Right. Right.
So, that's yeah, that's it. I think that gives us more to talk about if I'm not
Hmm.
just constantly talking about myself, and I can
Hmm.
see other people's issues and what's going on in their lives
Hmm.
and talk about it from a different point of view. I think this record really really goes there.
And in the years, since the early material, back in our day up until now, like I said, I thought that this one had, a little bit more of a similar sound to the earlier material and everything, but there were some differences too. In that time, I mean, I guess, are you still listening to the same stuff on your own? I mean, following the same bands are you gathering influence from other types of artists now than you were?
Bill, this is where you stand up and say, I will never betray ska.
That's
It'll always
exactly
be
right.
part of my life.
Yeah, I love ska, but can't play a lick of it.
And Brian's our designated metal head. He is just the king of all things dark, deep, dark, and heavy. And he turned me on to a lot of stuff. So that's influencing me. I still listen to the classic stuff, but I'm always trying to find something new.
Sure, sure.
I don't know, Brian, do you do anything other than death metal?
I think we've all tried. I think whenever anybody is a musician, you feel like you can listen to lots of different things, even if you don't love them, and still appreciate what the artist is doing.
Yeah.
And for that reason, I feel like I try to listen to a lot of different stuff. I think I have, because of when I grew up, just being just a little bit younger than these guys, I think like hip hop is a bigger influence for Nick and I. I don't think it was on Bill and Larry's radar at all, but it was something, it was a big part of growing up for me. And I don't know that I could say that has anything to do with the way that I play drums or anything. It's just being able to listen to lots of different things and just appreciate what's going on. We were having a conversation at practice last time about the local band Turnstile that's they're blowing up. They're everywhere. They have a song on a Taco Bell commercial now. And we talked about, like, some of us like the stuff, some of us don't like the stuff, but just being appreciative of a local Baltimore band that's making it now. And you're going to listen to that stuff either way and maybe steal a little bit of something from them if you can,
Sure. I see you've got an Iron Maiden tapestry behind you there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, those are my guys too. I don't know.
Coming at you live from the lab where it's all created.
Oh yeah.
This is the practice space. This is my go-to Zoom spot. Whenever we have a Zoom meeting, this is where I sit.
And that's your practice room too, right? Is that what you said?
Yeah. So I'm sound insulated from everybody else that's in my house right now. My family,
sure.
And they're insulated from me. So
yeah,
even more important.
I don't know if I've asked you this before or not. Bill, I know you've got 3 grown children, or 4.
I got 4.
4, and I think you mentioned you have some children too, right?
I do. I have 2 girls. One's in college now, and the other one's a junior in high school.
Oh, okay. Have they had any interest in this as well? I mean, how do they react to Dad doing the band?
They've been receptive. I mean, as receptive as you expect teenage girls to be.
Yeah.
There's a limit, but they've been bugging me since we finished in the studio with this new one. They had heard me playing it in the car or in the house a few times, and I think that's, again, one of the reasons that I think we have something good here is they found it catchy too, and they keep bugging me because, of course, all they do is stream music. So they're like, Dad, when's it going to be on streaming? When's it going to be on streaming? So I think they'll listen to it here and there. I think they might even play it for some of their friends here and there. I wouldn't say they're fans. As much as they are just like, here's what my dad does. But I think they found it catchy, and I think going back to what you were talking about with Larry's lyrics too, I think even though Larry was talking about it coming from a more mature point of view, or being able to write it because we're more mature, is that some of the stuff that he's singing about with mental illness and addiction and problems with the government, and young kids see the life the same way. Like mental health is a lot more out there than it was 20 years ago. Everybody's talking about it now, and
oh, it's quite an ordeal. It's quite an ordeal, and
so,
it is, it really is. Having family and everything that have gone through something like that, it's definitely a it can be a very rough thing on people, and I'm definitely well aware of that. Bill, how about your kids?
They're they all take time to listen to it, and each of them have their own critique for one song or another, like one song for another reason, or but they're all interested in when we're going to play out.
Okay.
And they're all, well, two of them are 20, twin boys, and then my son's 24, and then Hannah is going to be 26. So they're all of age to go to a bar and be able to see us. So that's what they're interested in at this point in time.
Well, that's good. That's good. And Larry, you don't have any children, right?
Oh no.
Fur children, as we see, right?
I was going to say, Josie in cat years is old enough to go to a bar, but we don't let her car date.
Right.
and she's not such a huge fan of the music, but my wife is very indulgent. She always sends me off on Sunday and tells me to have fun at punk rock club.
Oh, okay.
So she's a big fan of the band, and knows what it means to me and what it gives me, what it does for me, and she's very supportive of that, and she's just happy that I have it. Yeah, and that's another reason that we still do this is, we got to keeps us sane.
Oh yeah,
keeps us together, and gives us that outlet that we all need.
You're right. Yeah, the fortunate thing, and about my situation too, I'm married. I don't have any children, but my wife and I are both in the arts. She's also an actress, and she's helped me move along. I kind of backed into this. I've told you that story, and it's like you've got to be with somebody who gets it, whether they're in it or not. Even if they're not artistic, or if they're not musical or whatever, you've got to be with somebody who at least understands why this is an important outlet for you, and why this is something that you have to do. It's not something you just want to do. You have to do it. Do you all agree?
Yeah, absolutely. My wife has always been a big fan of me playing music. I think, like Bill's kids, she's also looking forward to seeing us do it instead of just listening to us make noise in the basement. It's important to have that. If somebody is telling you you shouldn't be doing something that you love, then you're probably not with the right person, regardless of what it is. If they're telling you, well, you love that and I don't want you to go do it anymore, then there's something wrong there.
Right. Absolutely. And I've seen that with a lot of people, where a lot of people that were really passionate about this, it ended up getting cut short because they were with somebody who just, they put their foot down, and then they forced that person to make a choice. Now, I mean, there's been times in life where people have had, they've got children to raise and they step away from it, or they've really got to do what they need to do to survive. But it's just a real shame when I see people who are in that kind of a relationship where things just get yanked away from them, and out of pride or jealousy or whatever it may be. It is good to have a supportive environment, I guess, right? Particularly
with something like this, where it takes a lot of time.
It does.
and especially when you start playing out and you're
Mm-hmm.
going out and doing, and having all these late nights and
Yep.
driving all over the place. And I think it helps that, Bill and Brian both have kids that are older.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a little bit less hands-on stuff.
Right.
But even, like Nick has got a young boy, he's like 2 or 3. So
Mm,
he's got his
yeah.
hands full.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that the rest of us are more understanding
Yeah.
than I guess we would have been if we were younger.
That's
Whereas
true
we're
too.
like, yeah, man, you gotta do what you gotta do. If the kid's sick, don't worry about it. If this
Mm-hmm.
is something, because we can, we're more flexible. Like I said, with age comes some patience,
Yeah.
and some wisdom. And so yeah, we
Mm-hmm.
just try and work around each other's obligations.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so far so good. It's been going along pretty well. But yeah, you're right. You got to have people who are in it with you. And thank God Brian's wife is down, because we're rain or shine, we're trudging through the living room with all our stuff, going down to the basement to bang around for 3 hours. And I try to make sure when I see her, I'm like, thanks, Vanessa, appreciate it, thank you, because we're turning her house upside down. And like with the whole COVID thing,
Oh boy,
that was the whole thing where and she was very generous with her time and space, and we worked out a deal. And so God bless her, man. She's been huge.
Right. That's a really good part of it right there. Again, somebody being that supportive to allow that, because that was another thing that goes a lot of times too. A lot of times when things kind of get old for that person, there goes the practice room too.
Right.
And,
Yeah.
It's too much. But this is a
like, oh man.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Remember, guys, flowers every holiday. She looks great every time you see her, right? It's
she's gonna be
bottle of
employee of the
wine.
month. Employee of the month at Red Dye number 9 Industries this month.
There you
So
go.
Make sure you remind her of that, Brian.
All right.
Yep. And speaking of Red Dye number 9 Industries, again, folks, this is just quality stuff here. I was looking on your website, and you have your compilation of the early material, as well as the Ninth Time's a Charm and American Dream, available for hard copy. Now, one thing I would like to say to my audience and everybody listening, and Larry, I've seen you post about this and you kind of agreed. I'm sure the other guys do too. Shop small.
Yeah.
Shop small. And this is a very nice Christmas gift or holiday or whatever holiday you celebrate. Now, this would be great. It's an enjoyable CD, especially if there's somebody that remembers the band, or if not, somebody that really likes things, their kind of music in this genre. This CD would make a great gift for somebody. T-shirts. You guys have T-shirts. You have, the Sunoco or the gas station style T-shirt here. You also have the older, like the Time Magazine Vietnam cover T-shirts as well. The
original logo from like the Deer Hunter logo.
That one.
Yeah, we got that. We haven't put it on the website yet, but another thing that Dave Nachotsky turned up was a stash of the original 7-inch.
Yes, I've got one of those. Yeah.
So we've got a bunch of those that we're going to put on the website too. So that's another thing that if you like the band, you want vinyl, we do have a limited vinyl offering. But I know Nick's a big fan of the whole shop small. He's the one who always brings that up. But it's true, because bands, nobody makes any money off of streaming, and we're not in this for the money. But you know what? It's these things aren't cheap.
No, they're not. They're not.
Dave Nachotsky is a brilliant engineer and producer, and he deserves every cent we can afford to send him, and he don't work cheap. So, So again, I mean, I'm not going to be a complete Luddite and say, hey, don't stream, but don't expect that anything comes to the bands or the artists through that. It just doesn't. And again, the CDs are like $10.
Right.
know,
Right.
if you want to support us, but buy direct. Same with the
Exactly.
t-shirts. I always try to get my t-shirt from the band,
Mhm.
or the band's website.
Right.
Same with
Right.
the CD. I mean, everybody loves Amazon, but just go right to them and get it from them so that the cash goes in their pocket.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You're right about that. You're right about that. And the thing is that, and kind of tying into what we're talking about here, is that the reason I started this podcast is to discuss the history and what's going on now in mostly the Mid-Atlantic. I mean, I do get guests from Hollywood and Broadway and other areas too. But the thing is that we have good stuff around here. We've got good theater, we've got good comedy, we've got good bands, good music. People are making things. Buy it. Check it out. It's good. What's better
right.
than, you can go to a theater. Putting on those shows isn't cheap either. And I have to say, there is a lot in, our area and areas beyond that is good. It is well done. There are people that, do shows like ours, not to toot my own horn, we're pretty good. But the thing is that we also do shows. People bring in caterers that are kind of artisan like in their food offerings.
Yeah.
That's art to a certain extent. Support that. Come out, get a ticket for that, try some of that.
Yeah, go to
use it for
a
your
local
meal.
restaurant instead of buying something at Applebee's or some shit like that. Yeah,
That's exactly what I was talking about. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
kind of where I was leading to, Brian. Absolutely right. I mean, not to say you're not going to eat well, and local people do work at these places and they need jobs too.
Right.
But the thing is that a lot of these, like for example, some of the shows where we had caterers there, the caterers, they buy their beef from Harford County, they buy their vegetables from Harford County and Cecil County and Baltimore County, and it's all locally done. And I'd like to see, I think the money, keep it local first, and then go outside. That's kind of what I like to do.
Well,
Even when it
felt
came to
like-
music stores, I'd always go to Dundalk first before I go to Guitar Center.
Right. I feel like that kind of started or that ties back into the whole do-it-yourself music thing too. Is
Right.
nobody paid us to make this CD
Mhm.
or any other band. All these guys that are doing it themselves, even guys that are on labels.
Mhm.
Sometimes the labels are so small, they're getting very little from the label other than promotion.
Right.
So, they're still paying to go into the studio and so there's lots of, any local band that you like, you should definitely be buying their merch because that's the only way they're making any money.
Exactly. And even too, if you're not making a killing off of it and, living as my grandfather used to say, high off the hog, at least you're able to finance your next project without having to dip into your pockets too much.
Right.
Yeah, it's not cheap. It's who is it? Corey Ziegler from Crack the Sky and his side project, his expensive habit, or say his expensive hobby. Yeah. It is. I mean, this gear isn't cheap. You go through stuff. I mean, don't give out Brian's address, but man, there's a lot of crap, a lot of expensive crap in the house. That like I said, it costs a lot of money and it takes a lot of time. And I mean, we grind. We put a lot into this, and we're old. It's like this is a lot of work. And we do it because we love it and we want to share it with people. And we think people out there will dig it. And we don't mind doing it ourselves. Then we can make what we want to make. But we hope that that people will support it the same way we support other people and other bands and clubs and restaurants. To what I said earlier about being old enough to now know the managers of the clubs. Yeah, we're old enough to know the people who are starting the restaurants and people who are owning the coffee joints and and all this other stuff. There are contemporaries now. They aged up into this new role, and we're still trying to support them. You know,
Yeah.
I still drive down to Maryland just to buy Zeke's coffee.
Oh
Because
yeah.
I know Tom and Amy. I want to support them, and it's awesome stuff. Rodney Henry, Dangerously Delicious Pies. It's all these people that we used to hang out with and gig with and we're young with. Now they're old, and everybody's got yet another project. Happy to support them, and then we encourage everybody, to go support the little man.
Yeah, another thing that's getting popular too is wineries and breweries, and we've been performing in a good number of those too. And again, local beer, locally made beer. It's not from it's not sitting on a truck coming from wherever, for days.
Yeah.
It's fresh right down the street being made. And again, there is a lot of good stuff just being done locally that you can go out and have a hell of a good time. Buying and watching and listening and supporting all of these things, and that's just great. So now I guess we could say it is shameless plug time. You could be shamelessly plug anything you'd like to shamelessly plug and be as shameless as you would want to be with no shamelessness spared. Go.
Who's feeling shameless?
You are, Larry. Go.
There it is. Okay. This is the new record. It's called American Dream. We've got it available on our website. It's www.reddye9.com. You got to spell all the words out. We've got the new CD. We've got last year's offering, 9 Times the Charm. We've got the limited edition vinyl 7 inches that we put out in 1989. We've got T-shirts. We've got the best of version 9 or something. I can't remember what it's called. That's all the old stuff off of Mind's Eye and Skin Squints and Cream Rinse. They're all on the website. If you want to reach, there it is. If you want to reach out to us, go to Red Dye NO9 9.com. You can email us. We've got shirts like Mike's wearing. That's our gas station shirt. We've got the classic Deer Hunter shirt logo. We're in the midst of plotting designs for new shirts. We've got stickers. I got my buttons. Got a bag of buttons with 3 different logos on them. We got all sorts of crap to tantalize and inspire. And everything on the new record, all the songs are going to hit streaming Black Friday, November 25th. They're going to be on Spotify and Apple Music and I don't know, whatever else is out there. But that's when everything will be available to stream. But if you want the real thing, come right to the real guys and reddye9.com. That's us. We'll get it to you.
That's great. That's great. And this T-shirt here, this is I think this logo is like very clever. I like this. I thought it was really cool, and this is why I bought this one. And if you think it looks good on this body, just imagine how good it'll look on yours.
Member of the League of Enormous Men.
That's right. That's right. Yes, the Large Mammal Club right over here.
That's right.
The chapter president for the Cecil County.
I'm not just a member, I'm a client.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Well, great. Like I said, guys, shop small this year. Like I said, this is definitely some quality material. Red Dye number 9 is put out. They're back and they'll be coming to a venue near you soon. And guys, like I said, please come back anytime. New material, big gig, whatever you want to do. Please feel free. And we'd love to have you again. It's always a lot of fun catching up and talking to you. Like I said, I'm most glad to see, your lineup now is absolutely great. I was glad to see, Stumpy come back as a guest spot on your new, I was glad to see that you're working with Dave again. And I just, like I said, I'll be there. I'll definitely be when you're performing. So
looking forward to having you.
Yep. So, well, folks, we've been catching up again with Red Dye number 9 here on Fowl Players Radio. And like I said, check out their stuff. We told you where you can find it. And remember, during the holidays this year, you've got some great gifts right in your own backyard. So we will see you next time. And fellas, thanks again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, this is Paul Castiglia, and you're listening to Fowl Players Radio, the one-stop shop for all your pop culture needs.
Hi, everybody. Dwight Weems from Gaz the Fun Band, and you're watching and listening to Fowl Players Radio.
Hey, folks, thanks again for tuning into this episode with Red Dye number 9. It was great to catch up with those guys again. They're old friends of mine that, I used to perform shows with back in the day. We recorded at the same studio, and it's great to see that they're doing great things together again. They've put out 2 really nice albums in the last couple of years, and make sure you support them, www.reddye9.com. Also, don't forget our back episodes, www.fowlplayersradio.com. You can check out our upcoming murder mystery shows, www.fowplayerofperryville.com. And also, coming up, the venues where we're going to be performing, fifthcompanybrewing.com, also www.WMSR.com. Make sure you support these venues, not only when we're performing there, but anytime. You'll have a great time. They've got lots to offer. Remember, support Red Dye number 9, support these venues, shop local, shop small. Have a Merry Christmas, and we will be talking to you soon.